Hello everyone, it's nice to meet you again. In this video we are going to discuss Mechanics paper 41 October-November 2023. Question 1. A particle of mass 1.6 kg is projected with a speed of 20 meter per second up a line of greatest slope of a smooth plane inclined at alpha to the horizontal, where tan alpha is equal to 3/4. Use an energy method to find the distance the particle moves up the plane before coming to the instantaneous rest. So this is the diagram to help us to answer this question. The slope inclined at alpha, where tan alpha is equal to 3/4, so alpha is 36.9 degrees. And then at the bottom of the slope, the particle is projected with speed 20 meter per second. First, we find delta H. Using trigonometry, we can find delta H is S times sine 36.9 degrees is equal to 0.6 S. And then we apply the energy conservation law. Work done by driving force minus work done by resistance is equal to change in potential energy plus change in kinetic energy. There is no work done by driving force and also work done by resistance, so we put 0 there. Delta PE is mg delta H, while delta KE is half mv squared minus u squared. So 0 is equal to 1.6 times 10 times 0.6 S. And then the change in kinetic energy is half times 1.6 times 0 squared minus 20 squared. So 0 is equal to 9.6 S minus 320. So S will be 33.3 meters. Question 2. A particle of mass 2.4 kg is held in equilibrium by two light inextensible strings, one of which is attached to point A and the other attached to point B. The string make angles of 35 degrees and 40 degrees with the horizontal. See the diagram. Find the tension in each of the strings. So first we draw the forces, the free body diagram in Cartesian plane. So let's say this one is TA, and the tension in the second string is TB, and we also have weight of the object, which is vertically downward. The magnitude of the weight is 24 Newton. We resolve each TA and TB into X and Y component. So TAX is TA cos 35 degrees, TAY is TA sin 35 degrees, while TBX is TB cos 45 degrees and TBY is TB sin 40 degrees. Now we apply the condition for equilibrium. We have two conditions here. The first one is that the net force in x direction is equal to 0. In x direction, we have TBX to the right and TAX to the left. So the equation in x direction will be TBX minus TAX is equal to 0. And then TBX is TB cos 40 degrees and TAX is TA cos 35 degrees. So simplify this equation, we have the first equation, TBX is equal to 1.069 TA. So this is our first equation. Now we also have the net force in y direction is also equal to 0. So TAX, TA sine 35 degrees plus TB sine 40 degrees is equal to 24. Now using substitution method, replace TB with 1.069 TA. The equation will be in terms of TA only. And then we simplify the equation into 1.261 TA is equal to 24. Therefore, TA is 19.0 Newton. Once we find TA, now we can find TB using our first equation. So TB is 1.069 times 19, which is equal to 20.3 Newton. Question 3. The diagram shows the velocity time graph for the motion of a bus. The bus starts from rest and accelerates uniformly for 8 seconds until it reaches a speed of 12.6 meters per second. The bus maintains this speed for 40 seconds. It then decelerates uniformly in 2 stages. Between 48 and 62 seconds, the bus decelerates at a meter per second square, and between 62 and 70 seconds, it decelerates at 2a meter per second square until coming to rest. A. Find the distance covered by the bus in the first 8 seconds. To find the distance, we can use area under the graph. In this case, the distance is area of the triangle. It is half times base times height. The answer is 50.4 meters. Part B. Find the value of A. So first, between 48 seconds until 62 seconds, this part of the motion, the equation will be negative A, since this is deceleration, is equal to V minus U 12.6 divided by the time. So the first equation will be 12.6 minus 14A equals V. For the time from 62 seconds to 70 seconds, the equation will be negative 2A is equal to the final speed is 0, and then the initial speed is V divided by the time 8. So the second equation is V equals 16A. Using substitution method, we can have the equation 12.6 minus 14 is equal to 16A. Solving this equation, we get A equals 0.42. C. Find the average speed of the bus for the whole journey. So first we need to find V. From the second equation, we have V equals 16A. A is 0.42, so V is equal to 16 times 0.42, which is equal to 6.72 meters per second. Now average speed is the total distance divided by the total time. The total distance is the total area under the curve, under the graph. So the first area is area of triangle. This one. It's half times 8 times 12.6. The second area is area of rectangle, 40 times 12.6. And the third one is area of trapezium. It's equal to 12.6 plus 6.72 divided by 2 times 14. And the last is the area of triangle. It's half times 8 times 6.72 and all divided by 70. The answer will be 10.2 meter per second. Question 4. Two particles P and Q of masses 6 kilograms and 2 kilograms respectively lie at rest 12.5 meters apart on a rough horizontal plane. The coefficient of friction between each particle and the plane is 0.4. Particle P is projected toward Q with speed 20 meters per second. A. Show that the speed of P immediately before the collision with Q is 10 square root of 3 meters per second. So this is the diagram. The weight of the object is 6 times 10, which is equal to 60 Newton. So the normal contact force between the object and the plane is also 60 Newton. And then the friction force is mu times n. It's equal to 0.4 times 60. So it's equal to 24 Newton. We are going to use Newton's second law to find the acceleration. So the net force is equal to m times a. Negative 24 is equal to 6 times a. The negative sign here because the friction force oppose the direction of the motion. So the acceleration is negative 4 meters per second square. And then we are using the kinematic formula v squared equals u squared plus 2as to find the final speed. So 20 squared plus 2 times negative 4 times 12.5. The answer is square root of 300. It's equal to 10 square root of 3 meter per second. In the collision, P and Q coalesce so to form particle R. Find the loss of kinetic energy due to the collision. So first, we apply the momentum conservation law. MPUP plus MQUQ is equal to MP plus MQ times V. So 6 times 10 square root of 3 plus 0 is equal to 6 plus 2 times V. This is MP plus MQ because the two particles coalesce after collision. So V is 15 square root of 3 over 2 meter per second. So we can calculate the kinetic energy before collision. Half times the mass of P, 6 times 10 square root of 3 square. The result is 900 joule. And then the kinetic energy after collision, because P and Q coalesce after collision, so the mass is 6 plus 2 times V squared. The speed after collision is 15 square root of 3 over 2 meter per second. So the kinetic energy after collision is 675 joule. Therefore, the loss in kinetic energy is 900 minus 675. The result is 225 joule. Part C. The coefficient of friction between R and the plane is 0.4. Find the distance traveled by particle R before coming to rest. So the normal contact force is the same as the weight because the object is on the horizontal plane. The weight is 80 Newton. And then the friction force is equal to mu times n. The mu is 0.4. The normal contact force is equal to 80, so 32 Newton. And then the acceleration is the net force divided by m. Again, the negative sign here because the friction force opposes the direction of the motion. And then the mass is 8. The acceleration is negative 4 meter per second square. We apply the kinematic formula for the second time. V squared equals U squared plus 2AS. So coming to rest, the final speed is 0. So 0 is equal to 15 square root of 3 over 2 is the speed after collision squared plus 2 times negative 4s. So 8s is equal to this is 15 square root of 3 over 2 squared, 675 over 4. So the distance traveled by particle R before it coming to rest is 21.1 meter. Now we continue to question number 5. The diagram shows a particle A of mass 1.2 kg which lies on a plane inclined at an angle 40 degrees to the horizontal. This is particle A. And a particle B of mass 1.6 kilogram which lies on a plane at an angle 50 degrees to the horizontal. The planes are connected by a light inextensible string which passes over a small smooth pulley P fixed at the top of the planes. The parts AP and BP of the string are taut and parallel to the lines of greatest slope of the respective planes. The two planes are rough with the same coefficient of friction mu between the particles and the planes. Find the value of mu for which the system is in limiting equilibrium. So we redraw the diagram and then complete the diagram with the free body diagram. This is for particle A. We have WA, WAX and WAY, and then the normal on particle A and also the tension. We have friction force directed down the plane because particle A move up. The two reasons why particle A move up: one, because particle B is heavier than particle A. The other is that the slope for on which particle B lie is steeper. So we are sure that particle A will move up and particle B will move down. That's why the friction force on particle B is up the plane. Remember that friction force always oppose the motion. And then WAX is WA sine 40, WAY is WA cos 40, and the normal contact force on particle A is the same as WAY. We do the same thing with WB, WBX, and WBY. Then we continue to find the friction force on particle A, the normal contact force times mu, and also on particle B, the normal contact force on B times mu also. The coefficient of friction on both particles are the same. After that, we will apply the Newton's second law for both particles. Sigma F is equal to m times A. First, for particle A, the equation tension minus WAX minus friction force. This one. So Newton's second law on x direction, yeah, on x direction. The net force on x direction is equal to m times A. On the right side, I equate the result with 0 because the system still in equilibrium, so it's 0 there. And then for particle B, the formula, the equation is WBX. It's in the same direction of the motion. Students, here we are using positive direction in the same direction of the motion. So for particle A, the positive direction is up the plane, while for particle B, the positive direction down the plane. That's why WBX is positive, while the tension is negative and the friction force always negative. And the result is also equal to 0 because the system is in equilibrium. So now we can solve the T, tension, by adding both equations. So we can cancel the T, and we have another equation in terms of mu only. Solving this equation, we can find the value of mu equals 0.233. Question 6. A car of mass 1,300 kilograms is moving on a straight road. A. On a horizontal section of the road, the car has a constant speed of 30 meters per second, and there is a constant force of 650 Newton resisting the motion. I. Calculate in kilowatt the power developed by the engine of the car. So, since the car moves with constant speed, then the net force is equal to 0. It means that the driving force is the same as the resistance force. It's equal to 650 Newton. To find power, we can use the formula P equals driving force times V. So it's equal to 650 times 30. The answer is 19,500 watt. Or we can convert into kilowatt. It becomes 19.5 kilowatt. II. Given that this power is suddenly increased by 9 kilowatt, find the instantaneous acceleration of the car. So first we find the driving force using formula P divided by V. Now the power initially is 19,500 kilowatt. Now become 19,500 plus 9,000, because the question says that the power is increased by 9 kilowatt. And then divide by V, which is equal to 30 meter per second. So the new driving force now is 950 Newton. The acceleration is the net force divided by mass. It's equal to 950 minus 650 over 1300. The answer is 3 over 13 meter per second square. Part B. On a section of the road inclined at sine inverse 0.08 to the horizontal, the resistance to the motion of the car is 1000 plus 20 V Newton when the speed of the car is V meter per second. The car travels downward along this section of road at constant speed with the engine working at 11.5 kilowatt. Find this constant speed. So first we need to draw the diagram. On this diagram, the car is on an inclined plane in which the angle is sine inverse 0.08. This is the free body diagram on the car. We have W 13,000 Newton. This W we can resolve into Wx, and actually we have Wy, but since the resistance is already given in terms of V, we don't need to find Wy. So in this case we need Wx only. Wx is equal to 13,000 times sine alpha. So Wx is 1040 Newton. And then the driving force is the power of the car divided by V. The power is 11,500 and the velocity it's still unknown here, so we just write V. And then since the car travels at constant speed, we can say that the net force in x direction is equal to 0. The equation will be, according to this diagram, the driving force plus Wx minus resistance force is equal to 0. The driving force in terms of V is 11,500 over V. Wx we found it before, 1040 Newton. And the resistance is in terms of V, 1000 plus 20 V. And then we can multiply both sides by V, and we have quadratic equation in V. 11,500 plus 40V minus 20V square is equal to 0. To make it simpler, we divide the equation by negative 20. So the quadratic equation in its simplest form will be V squared minus 2V minus 575 is equal to 0. And we factorize it into v minus 25 times v plus 23 is equal to 0. We take the positive solution. So here v is equal to 25 meter per second. So this is the last question on this paper, question number 7. A particle moves in a straight line starting from a point O before coming to instantaneous rest at point X. At time t seconds after leaving O, the velocity v meter per second of the particle is given by v equals 7.2 t squared for 0 less than or equal to t less than or equal to 2, and v equals 30.6 minus 0.9 t for 2 less than or equal to t less than or equal to 8, and the last v equals 1600 over t squared plus kt for t greater than or equal to 8, where k is a constant. It is given that there is no instantaneous change in velocity at t equals 8. Find the distance OX. So now we use this information first. There is no instantaneous change in velocity at t equals 8. First, when t equals 8, we find the velocity using the second equation, in which v is equal to 30.6 minus 0.9 times 8. It's equal to 23.4 meter per second. So using the third formula, when t equals 8, the velocity must be the same as 23.4 meter per second too, because there is no instantaneous change in the velocity at t equals 8. So the equation will be 1600 over 8 squared plus k times 8 is equal to 23.4. Solving that equation, we can find k is equal to negative 1 over 5. And then we continue. The question says when the particle arrives at point X, the speed is equal to 0. So we continue to find the time when v is equal to 0. We use the third formula, but in which we have found the value of k. So now the k we can replace by negative 1 over 5. The equation will be 1600 over t squared minus 1 over 5t is equal to 0. And then we multiply both sides by t squared. So it will be 1600 minus 1 over 5t cubed is equal to 0. T cubed is equal to 8000 and t is equal to 20 seconds. Now the distance OX, we need to find the total distance. Here we have 3 stages of motion. The first stage is from 0 to 2. We can use integration of 7.2 t squared dt from t equals 0 up to t equals 2. And then for the second stage, the formula is 30.6 minus 0.9 t dt for t equals 2 up to t equals 8. And then for the last stage, stage 3, the distance is integral 1600 t to the power of negative 2 minus 1 over 5t dt from t equals 8 up to t equals 20. And then integral 7.2 t squared is 2.4 t cubed from 0 to 2. And then integral 30.6 minus 0.9t is 30.6t minus 0.45t squared. The lower boundary is 2, the upper boundary is 8. Lastly, integration of 1600t to the power of negative 2 minus 1/5 t is negative 1600t to the power of negative 1 minus 1/10 t squared. Apply from t equals 8 to 20. And then we total all the distances for all stages. Finally, we get the total distance is 262.2 meters. So students, we have discussed all questions in this paper. I hope you find this video beneficial for you and it can help you to prepare for your Cambridge exam. Thank you for watching. See you in our next video.